I had a vision, and it told me that there was going to be a huge earthquake, an earthquake like the world's never seen before. This earthquake was going to hit a city, a huge city by the bay, next to the ocean, mountain range behind it. My name is Dr. Stephen Dietr Korus. I am a doctor of contemporary German history, starting actually at the post-World War I era. Um, I live in Dallas, Texas, and I'm an author of about 3 books now. And also, I own an IT company called Digital Battleground. I had a near-death experience on November 12th, 2022, and it completely changed my life. Everything and anything about my life changed. Um, I'm a vegetarian now. Things that I did not, things that I liked, I don't like anymore. That I liked, I didn't like anymore. And there's a lot of things that I'll be able to tell you about my changes. The day I had the NDE, it really started the night before. I wasn't feeling well when I got home from doing some work and ate some soup that night. And I was like, man, I really not. I think I'm just tired, or I just think maybe I stayed up too late the night before, and maybe I'm just tired. And so I went to bed about 8 o'clock and passed out. Woke up about 4 o'clock in the morning with some tremendous stomach pains. And I was like, oh man, I've got stomach flu, right? So I started throwing up, and it was very nasty, and it was really hurt a lot. So that went on into daylight into I guess about 6 or 7 in the morning, and at that point in time, I could no longer hold any water in my body as I was throwing up too much. So I called my roommate from downstairs, and I had her bring me some water. And I said, "Hey, I don't know what's going on with me, but can you keep an eye on me? Because I'm not sure if it's stomach flu or not, but it's really bad." And so I went back to bed and laid in bed, and I had some tremendous pain all over my body. And a few hours went by, and about 2 p.m., I tried to get up, and I was having some chest pains, and I felt really dizzy. So I'm like, well, this isn't normal, so I'm going to run downstairs. So I ran downstairs, and I started to get really dizzy, and I fell onto the couch, and I used my smartphone, and I called out to it to call the emergency services. And so I was laying on the bed, and I could hear them coming about 3 minutes later, but it seemed like forever. And that was leading up to the NDE. They did they did what's called an EKG on me, and my heart didn't feel right. And I heard the EMT say, "Well, he's having a myocardial infarction, which is a heart attack." And so that kind of really freaked out. Then they put me into the ambulance, and we're sitting there forever. It seems like. And so Dallas is a city with a lot of traffic congestion, right? So we're on the way to the hospital, and so I know I'm going to die. I'm feeling really bad. I'm trying not to pass out, and I'm starting to hurt everywhere. I mean, every muscle in my body hurt. Everything hurt. Um, and I still didn't know what it was, and they didn't know what it was. They just thought it was a regular heart attack. So at that point, I started like calling out. I was like, man, I'm praying like, man, I'm like, God, please don't let me die. Don't let me die. And so the EMT made sure to say, don't pray to God, pray to the doctors at the hospital, right? So I didn't say anything back. I'm like, I know I'm going to die. And so about we're about 5 miles from my house, and we're kind of weaving out of traffic, and it's really congested. And so I'm trying to hold on, and then everything goes black, like when you go to sleep, and you kind of pass out. That's what I felt. And then the next thing I know, I'm above my body, and I wasn't hurting, and so I knew I was dead. Like I don't, and it was very scary. But it wasn't terrifying. And I was like I really don't want to die. Please, I really want to go back into my body. Um, and I tried to stay there. And then at that point, I was sucked out. I could see my body at first, and then I was sucked out into blackness. I could see the light on one side, and everything behind me was black. And it seemed like forever. And the next point, I I didn't. What's strange is I didn't go through a tunnel, and I had no one there waiting on me like most people have. Like I'd heard about near-death experiences before, but nothing in my experience was anything like anyone else that I'd heard described. And so I was there, and I'm like, I don't want to die, God, and thinking about myself, of course. And I went to at that point, I went through a life review, and everything nasty I've done and hurt people. Um, it came back to me, and I was feeling what they felt when I hurt these people, and that was horrific, and it was soul crushing, uh, because things that I didn't even know I did came back to me, and things I had forgotten about 20 years ago, 30 years ago came back, and I relived it. And it seemed like forever, and so at that point, it you saw I still at that point it I could see my body, and I could see around everywhere, and I was concentrating on my body and trying to get back into it, and I could feel myself getting sucked behind me. There was blackness behind me, and my body was I could see it in like a 360 sphere, right? Um, but behind me was a definite void, and I was getting drawn back towards that void. Like I could feel it, and I could see what's going on in my body, and I was sitting there trying, just trying to will myself back into it, but I'm just getting sucked into what's called. I guess I found out this it was called the void later on after um, not too long ago, and so I was going towards that, and that seemed like it was forever, and at a certain point in time, I mean I was only dead for like 3 minutes and 30 seconds, and it seemed like forever. And I'm like, if I end up going to that void, I'm gonna die. I'm not coming back. And I called out to my religion, religion, not I was Orthodox, so I called out to Jesus. And so at that point, and also I started thinking to myself and started praying, saying, if you let me live, I won't be this bad person anymore. Because I was a really bad person as far as hurting people, and being mean and nasty, and not just anything to make money, no matter if I be a crooked businessman or whatever. Um, that was my goal. And when I said that in my mind, I was still me. It was still I still had consciousness and still had an identity as myself, my earth self. Um, and when I said that, at that point, I was sucked back in my body, and when I hit my body, it felt like I jumped off a 20-story building and hit the concrete. I mean, it really hurt. I mean, it was earth shattering to me going back in the body. But I guess that was when they were shocking me. Um, so that who knows, but it was not pleasant, um, and nothing about the experience was pleasant to me. So now it's just completely changed my life. Everything about myself is different. I mean, everything, down to what I like to eat, down to my likes and dislikes, and it's really strange. But I like this self better than my old self, and I don't even recognize the old self anymore. But it's still there, still there. I can see it trying to creep in at some point in time. So so that's the part about the NDE that covers the medical part of it, um, and another thing that's kind of miraculous. Most people that have a septic shock end up staying in the hospital for months and months, and most people die. I think the mortality rate is around 40 to 60%, and I was actually out of the hospital in a month, which is miraculous. And the heart attack doesn't even show up on the EKGs now. So there's definitely, I think, some divine intervention. So after my near, so after the near-death experience, I started exhibiting some signs that I could foretell some small things that were going to happen, like clairvoyance. So the NDE, I think it caused me to have some abilities to foretell the future. So, and some small things that have actually come true with foretelling people dying that I've known. Um, however, it was just something small, and it could have been coincidence. Um, but last week, I had a vision, and it told me that there was going to be a huge earthquake, an earthquake like the world's never seen before. This earthquake was going to hit a city, a huge city by the bay, next to the ocean, mountain range behind it. I struggled with thinking what city it was, but I knew it had to be Los Angeles. I've been to LA many times, and it was so horrible. I actually fell to the floor. Um, the, Los Angeles will lose millions of people, and it will be uninhabitable for a couple decades. And the vision told me it would be sometime in next year. And I hope this vision is wrong because it will devastate millions of people. Millions of people will die. So I hope that this vision is wrong. So people's their nature has changed, and right, or their human nature has changed. A lot of people say that after their NDEs, um, and mine has definitely changed. My outlook and the things I do, and I used to try to hurt people on purpose. It was really bad, just for fun, just because I thought it was funny. And my nature has completely changed from just being a bad spirited person who thought bad things happening to other people was funny. And now I'm completely different. And other people I've seen that have had this experience, their nature has changed also. So now I try to do good and try to help people out. And I promised God that I would change and I would help people now. So I do believe that people change after these experiences. I'm seeing one big natural disaster, and that's the one I'm thinking that's going to happen in Los Angeles. However, that's the only one I've gotten, but I do feel there's going to be civil unrest in the United States, um, possibly other places, um, and that's not a good thing either. But that's something that hasn't been a vision, but I feel that it could be something psychic from the NDE. However, I hope nothing comes true that I've been feeling because I haven't been feeling anything positive. I feel that the economy of the world is going to go through a worldwide recession, and that's going to be for China, United States, and Europe, and the whole country, the whole world basically is going to have is going to have to reset themselves because the countries of the world have not been positive for this planet. Treated the planet as its dumping ground. Um, and so you have to pay for things. There's yin and yang, right? There's no good without bad. And I think we're definitely heading that way. And I'm hoping there's no wars, but I'm hoping that the that that Israel and Iran and other places that have historically been at war for a couple thousand years. I'm hoping and praying that things do not escalate from the conflict that's been happening between Iran and Israel. These countries have been very greedy, and that's been something that's been bad, and they haven't cared that they've polluted the whole planet and made parts of the planet unusable, and the greed of that is causing the economy to not directly, but as far as karma goes, I believe that's has something to do um, with the economy going, behind the scenes, that we don't see. I think that's part of the reason that things are going to get bad. I don't think so. I don't think there's going to be a big war. Um, I think that there's one group of people that controls most of the world. I don't think they control China or Russia. I think China is one of the few. That is the only country that's going to stand up to the cabal that controls the rest of the world, except for maybe Russia. So no global war anytime soon. Not in the next 50 years, I don't believe. I don't think the system will collapse. Not like people are thinking. A lot of people are thinking that things are going to get so bad that it's going to be like something out of a disaster movie, out of a Civil War America movie, or any other or another movie with other countries collapsing. I do believe things are going to get fairly bad, but not to the point where people are fighting each other and there's going to be a complete civil disobedience and unrest, and a war will break out within countries. I don't believe it's going to get that bad. The New Earth, I believe that will happen, and I have no idea, but I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. I think it will probably be in an era where technology has gotten to the point that there's super intelligence from AI at that point. I really can't think of anything other than a big natural disaster may have happened prior to that happening, because the way the planet is currently, a new Earth definitely won't happen, as there's just too many people. The people that control things they don't adhere to any religion, and I don't believe that most people believe strongly enough in the religion to take arms up against other people. There may be some extremists in all religions, but there's not enough of them to make an impact on the entire world. I think that the earth needs to be purified. I think one day it will be, but it won't be good for people because people are just a. I think the earth will be purified one day. However, that will be a day that the earth is purified by fire, I believe, and it won't be good for humans. But humans have been part of the problem, as humans have not taken responsibility as they should have. Humans humans are responsible for destroying the planet. So much pollution, wars, and other things we don't even know what the new technology is going to bring for the planet. But it's definitely not going to be good because human nature doesn't usually go along with good. The God I felt was, I guess I would call God with a capital G. God, who's that holds everything together, all the electrons, atoms, and together. And this God, um, I think this God is what everyone prays to from every religion, regardless of what the religion is called. I believe that this God, this energy, holds everything together. So, but I also believe that whatever religion you happen to be, that's what counts for you. So I don't think there's a right or wrong answer for what religion people practice. I just think that people, as long as you try to do your best and be a good person, and whatever you decide to follow, that's what counts. And trying to help other people. But I didn't see I didn't see Jesus. I didn't see God, but I felt God. I knew God was there. I mean, I could feel it. I could feel it. But when I was going to the void, God was not in the void. God was there was nothing in that void, nothing but your consciousness and you reminiscing and being tortured by everything you've done bad. And so I mean that's the place where God's not. And I think that's hell. But I've been told that that's not even hell. That's purgatory. Hell is was really even worse than that. So I'm really happy to go to hell. Um, so and I heard that you get out of the void at a certain point in time. A lot of people have been taken out of the void in their NDEs from what I've studied after this happened to me. The only message that I got, um, it wasn't a direct. It was a message when all religions are worshiping the same God. That's what I got out of that. Um, but not a real not like a direct message saying that I need to go out and do a specific deed. But however, I did get some other things that have that have manifested themselves um, after I got well from that experience. The message I received was that we need to help other people and not try to hurt other people. And our intentions to hurt other people, we will pay for them in in the afterlife. Um, that's what I learned, and that's kind of the message I got from that. And you will also relive what the bad things you've done to other people and how you made them feel. You will feel as they felt. what I think about the purpose of life is we were put here to help others and for us to evolve as a spiritual being so that we can go to higher planes. And I believe that this is one of the lower planes. And we're here either to start out or because we did something that's not exactly good for anything in a previous life. Um, so I believe that we're here to help others and to enlighten others for things that we've learned spiritually and just just ways to help. If you can only help one person, um, you may not be changing the world, but if you can help one person, that's paramount for people, and it's paramount for your spirituality. I really wasn't religious prior to the NDE. I may have been a quote unquote Orthodox Christian, but I didn't practice it. Didn't practice it. Matter of fact, I pretty much went opposite of any religion, um, because because religions most of them want you to do something positive, and I did nothing positive prior to the NDE. So after the NDE, now I try to adhere to doing things that help other people that um, I want to change the world for the better now. Whereas prior to that, I didn't care about doing anything for the world. I only wanted to do things for myself. So yes, it definitely changed me for the better, and I definitely practice religion now. I think things are just happen because they just happen, and I think God with a capital G lets things go on just kind of happen as they do, and I think people have to get to things more or less themselves. Um, because I don't see that God is that interacts with people um, all the time. Um, but I think God interacts when people really try to interact with Him or the Spirit of God. I think reading a lot of books on spirituality will help people do that. Meditating and practicing, um, praying a certain way, um, and really meaning what you pray for, and really changing your life. And doesn't happen just by saying that you want to do this. You have to actually live that life and change the way your vibration, your frequency has to change from where you were at before. Through meditation, you can change your vibration. I believe that the Monroe Institute proved that. Um, and the Monroe Institute was a psychic institute started in I think the 1960s in the USA, and the U.S. government actually funded a lot of their research, and people were doing things like astral projection and remote viewing was learned there, and I think that and people were putting themselves into meditative states or states of trances, I should say. People were putting themselves in trances, and that was altering people's vibrations. So that's where I believe how I believe people can change their vibration. I think that meditation will help you clean the soul. Um, so I think that will go along with your actions. So doing both at the same time, and then I believe that after you clean your soul, and I believe that you'll be able to meditate in a better sense, in a higher sense. Um, it's kind of like it's definitely like an evolution of the soul and the spirit. I did not see anything, nothing at all. When I could, that God was there, I could feel God. You know, it's God with a capital G, as I call him. But what it was so scary is the possibility of spending an eternity without any other entities around you, without any other people, no other souls. And that's what the void is. And that to me, that would be hellish. It is hellish. It was. I still have nightmares about the experience. And when I relive the experience, I just think about how horrible it was, and how afraid I am of dying. But even though I have changed my life completely now, so we need to prepare by trying to influence others to change their vibrations, to change their lives, to focus on good things, to want to make peace instead of war, to have love for other people rather than hate, and to treat others as you would want yourself to be treated. I mean, I think that's the paramount rule for everything. That's one thing that's probably the biggest thing I got out of the NDE from God, was treating others the way you want to be treated. Young people of the world, I believe that you should treat others as you want to be treated. And I know with social media and the internet being a major part of everyone's life now, people are not expendable. People are not throwaway. I know it may seem that way, that you could change your friends almost daily, because social media will allow you to meet new people, almost instantaneously. But just remember, those people are real people. They're not simply an icon or just a username. These people have real emotions, real children, real parents that care about them. And so I just would urge you to step back and remember that these are people like yourself. And I would like you to also um, treat others as you would treat yourself. And that just means being good and trying to help other people. And that may change things, may change the world. I tried to stay there, and then at that point, I was sucked out. I could see my body at first, and then I was sucked out into blackness. I could see the light on one side, and everything behind me was black, and it seemed like forever. And the next point, I didn't. What's strange is I didn't go through a tunnel, and I had no one there waiting on me, like most people have. Like I'd heard about near-death experiences before, but nothing in my experience was anything like anyone else that I'd heard described. And so I was there, and I'm like, I don't want to die, God, and thinking about myself, of course. And I went through at that point, I went through a life review, and everything nasty I've done and hurt people. Um, it came back to me, and I was feeling what they felt when I hurt these people, and that was horrific, and it was soul crushing, uh, because things that I didn't even know I did came back to me, and things I had forgotten about 30, 20 years ago, 30 years ago came back, and I relived it, and it seemed like forever. And so at that point, it you saw right, so at that point, it I was could see my body, and I could see around everywhere, and I was concentrating on my body, trying to get back into it, and I could feel myself getting sucked behind me. There was blackness behind me, and my body was, I could see it in like a 360 sphere, right? Um, but behind me was a definite void, and I was getting drawn back towards that void. Like I could feel it, and I could see what's going on in my body, and I was sitting there trying, trying to will myself back into it, but I'm just getting sucked into what's called. I guess I found out this. It was called the void later on, after not too long ago, and so I was going towards that, and that seemed like it was forever, and at a certain point in time, I mean, I was only dead for like 3 minutes and 30 seconds, and it seemed like forever. And I'm like, if I end up going to that void, I'm gonna die. I'm not coming back. And I called out to my religion, religion, not, I was Orthodox, so I called out to Jesus. And so at that point, and also I started thinking to myself and started praying, saying, if you let me live, I won't be this bad person anymore. Because I was a really bad person as far as hurting people, and being mean and nasty, and not just anything to make money, no matter if I'd be a like crooked businessman or whatever. Uh, that was my goal. And when I said that in my mind, I was still me. It was still, I still had consciousness and still had an identity. um, as myself, with my Earth self. Um, and when I said that, at that point, I was sucked back in my body. And when I hit my body, it felt like I jumped off a 20-story building and hit the concrete. I mean, it really hurt. I mean, it was earth shattering to me going back in the body. But I guess that was when they were shocking me. Um, so that, who knows, but it was not pleasant. Um, and nothing about the experience was pleasant to me. So now it's just completely changed my life. Everything about myself is different. I mean, everything, down to what I like to eat, down to my likes and dislikes, and it's really strange. But I like this self better than my old self, and I don't even recognize the old self anymore. But it's still there, still there. I can see it trying to creep in at some point in time. So so that's the part about the NDE that covers the medical part of it. Um, and another thing that's kind of miraculous. Most people that have septic shock end up staying in the hospital for months and months, and most people die. I think the mortality rate is around 40 to 60%, and I was actually out of the hospital in a month, which is miraculous. And the heart attack doesn't even show up on the EKGs now. So there's definitely, I think, some divine intervention. So thank you guys for tuning in tonight. My name is Dr. Stephen Dietr Korus, and you can get in touch with me at Stephen@digitalbattleground.com. And I also urge you to subscribe to this channel. They've been very wonderful. And for everyone out there, treat others as you will treat yourselves, and things will get better for the whole world and the planet. Thank you, and have a good evening.